The date is Friday, December 17th, and you're listening to Entertain This, a thought-provoking podcast encapsulating all things entertainment. In this episode, we're taking a sleigh ride through the nostalgic holiday television programs made by a production company called Rankin Bass. We're going to be examining some of these made-for-TV experiences frame by frame. Is that name not jingling any bells? Well, listen in and it'll all become clear. So enjoy!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the only show currently being hosted from the North Pole. Shout out to Santa for letting us be here. It's Entertain This.
Entertain This.
As always, I'm your festive elf head manager, and I'm Alex.
And I'm your strong reindeer man, Michael.
And I'm St. Nick.
Oh, God damn it. It's too easy for you.
Wow! As soon as I started the bit, he was like, got it.
I'm ready for it. I've been waiting my entire life.
So hold on. I want to back up because we are at the North Pole. I mean, you can hear the elves working, you can hear the bells, you hear all of it. So it's obvious that we're there, and we're gonna get him to quiet down. Guys, can you just give it? Okay. I think it's like silent here now. Anyway, so I gotta ask Michael, you said you're a strong reindeer man. So are you like the man who like wrangles the reindeer and like gets them on the sleigh, or are you a half man, half reindeer? Ooh. And then my next question is, how the hell did that happen?
You know,
was it a Christmas miracle?
The great thing is there's lots of really good like interpretations of even like what Santa looks like, what his like personality is, or anything of the sort. So really, I'm just going to leave that up for anyone to decide. It's there's no canon lore here.
No.
That's not a satisfactory answer.
No, because you said that you were a half deer, half man.
Ooh.
And or at least you said you were a deer man, and I assumed, and I shouldn't assume. It's not right for me to assume you're, what's going on. Man. I just need you to tell me so that I know how to, approach.
Right.
So I just need a straight answer from you.
Yeah.
What are you working with?
Yeah, I got hooves. I got antlers.
Okay, so okay, hold on. So you are a half deer, half man.
I never said that.
But you so are you saying
no? I am full reindeer, full man.
All of you, shut up, shut up, all of you. Okay, are you saying that you have hooves and antlers, as in you possess them?
Yes.
Or are you saying that you have them because they are attached to your body and you were born with them?
Yes.
Okay, well, see, if you confirm both of those, it really just confirms the latter, that you are, in fact, a half deer, half man.
No. Okay. Yeah, sure. All right.
Maybe
it's Christmas.
Maybe it's
throw me off on this. What's going on?
Well, you know the song. You got Dasher, you got Dancer, you got Donner and Blitzen,
and
Michael and Cupid.
Yeah.
But the most important reindeer of them all is obviously still Rudolph.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
He's got that red nose.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That didn't answer my question in the slightest, but I don't know if I'm going to get an answer. So maybe one day I'll find out.
There's no canon entertain this lore of whether or not I am a full reindeer, half man, or a man pretending to be a reindeer.
Okay, here's the thing.
Be two men, right?
We are an audio platform. We paint pictures with our voices, with the stories that we tell. I mean, look at us. We're in the gosh darn North Pole right now in Santa's workshop.
Yep.
And that happened, and our listeners know that. But here's the problem is I can look around. I'm looking around right now. I see the elves, right? I see the toys being made. It's festive. It's great. There's a giant tree. Wow. There's candy canes galore. But I look at you and I look at your bottom half, and right now it's just this black cloud, and it's it's like a Cthulhu-esque, like if I look at it too long, I start to like see like things I don't want to see. Like I can't fathom what I'm looking at. And until you tell me, I feel like I'm going insane looking at it. So you got to paint that picture.
You would just go more insane if I described it to you. It turns out Santa and all of his reindeer are all just Cthulhu-esque nightmares from the mystical dreamscape here to haunt our realm. So,
and you're half that?
No, I am fully that, but half of which takes the form of a man. The other half vaguely like a reindeer.
Okay, so you're like, sorry, we're spending a lot of time on this.
Yeah. I'd really prefer if we moved on.
I know. The last question. I'm so sorry. We are spending too much time on this, but are you okay? I'm going to understand this. Are you saying that you are a plane walker where you exist on multiple planes at once, and on this plane you exist as a human man, but on another plane you exist as a reindeer?
No.
Okay, fuck off. I give up. Let's start the show.
Michael, you're going to have to roll persuasion and then get past Alex.
Stop doing that. It's Christmas.
So far, it's not working out for you. So
Christmas.
I would love to see like a Cthulhu-esque take on Christmas. That would be incredible.
I think we just wrote one.
Fan fiction. It's fun.
Anyway, it's another week here in festive North Pole land where we're currently recording the podcast. And it really is an honor to be here. Michael, it must be a huge honor for you because you get to captain the episode taking place right here in the North Pole.
I do. Wow. It's very exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting to be here.
Yeah. And so there was a lot of preparation that had to go into this because like we had to buy the tickets, we had to get our passports, and all of that jazz. And so I had a lot of time to try and come up with a really good topic.
And then we got denied for passports for some reason. I didn't even know that was a thing that could happen.
Yeah. Well, you got turned away at the border.
Well, yeah, but I got in anyway because I just recently got a new haircut, and as you all know, I usually wear my hair long to hide my ears, but they saw my protruding ears, and they actually threw me back over the border, thinking that I was actually abandoning the North Pole. That I myself was an elf. Here?
What? I just took the train. I don't know.
Yeah, of course you took the train.
The Polar Express. I mean, come on.
Yeah. We had to we basically snuck in, if I'm being honest.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We may be illegal aliens to the North Pole right now.
Santa has offered us sanctuary here.
North
and
Pole,
we're going to do our podcast real quick. And then he said he's going to throw Michael and I both it's going to be a large box, but when we're both in it, it's going to feel small. And we're going to have about a 3-day voyage through UPS before we get anywhere near home.
Yeah.
But Santa's going to do that for us.
Yeah. Santa's got the full capability to deliver presents to every home in one night, but for some reason for us, he chooses UPS.
He says he doesn't want to put the extra mileage on his sled. And I honestly just think that he's kind of being a jerk about it.
It's flat rate shipping. How could you turn that down? I mean, come on.
He says that if he were to take us, it would for the resale value. So anyway, we have a whole thing that we got to do. And Santa's looking at me like, hey, stop talking about this stuff. So
he's doing these.
I'm not trying to get on the naughty list.
You're good. So back to what I was saying is we had a lot of time to prepare for this. And so in my customary fashion, despite the fact that I had a lot of time, it wasn't until the last episode that you did, Alex, where I actually came up with my topic. So in your episodes, you like to propose questions at the beginning. You like to get us involved.
I famously made fun of myself for that last episode.
And the non-rhetorical questions. Let me note that too.
Yes.
That's a long-running bit that we have not seen in a while. It's a Christmas miracle.
They're questions you're supposed to answer. That's what non-rhetorical means.
Yeah.
So
that's a joke.
Oh gosh, it's such a joyous place here.
Yeah. So in your last episode, Alex, you proposed the question to Nick and I. What were some of our favorite family holiday traditions? And one of the answers that I had was the thought of sitting down with my family to enjoy some of those classically, absolutely jankily animated Christmas special movies. Old
checking with the
favorites.
storekeepers, and jankly is okay. Yes, they're going to allow it, but it is not a word.
It's still 14 points. So,
I mean,
but anyways, it includes old favorites like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yep.
Frosty the Snowman, and Santa Claus is coming to town.
What about the Year Without a Santa Claus?
That is also one. That is also a really good one. There's a whole bunch of them that we may or may not discuss today. But yeah, so I figured after that, despite having all that time to come up with a subject in my usual fashion, I said something, and now that's my topic. Just within 2 weeks,
we were running from a lot of Canadian. What are they called?
Mounties.
On they were on Mooseback, and those things are bigger than they look. So we were pretty much running the entire time. You really had no time to prepare. It's not fair. Your fault.
Mooseback.
But yeah, so let's take this reel this right back into reality. I figured us here together and along with the listeners today, we could take a nice little horse-drawn carriage down the snowy street of memory lane together. So let's make a cup of hot cocoa, hang the lights on the Christmas tree, and cuddle up next to the fireplace. And let's entertain this.
We're kicking absolute Christmas ass at these intros.
That's pretty good.
Well, the funny thing is like, as you famously ask like questions for each of us at the beginning of yours, as Nick famously asks rhetorical questions.
Yeah.
I famously never say the name of the show in my intros.
We're breaking all the rules.
Yeah. I always forget to actually say the tagline and entertain this.
So at a time of tradition, we're throwing caution to the wind.
Yeah. It's a new year, a time for us to change and become better podcast hosts, which I think from the evidence of this one so far is not working out so well.
It's going great. Are you kidding?
We're doing our best.
Did you hear the amount of editing that Nick put into our cold open?
Oh my gosh, it really saved it.
The cold open. That was
I mean this cold open, the one that we just did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I got to do it again.
Yep.
Right.
All right. So let's bring it back to these shitty animated movies. So real quick, when I'm talking about these, do either of you guys understand, like, know what movies I'm talking about?
Oh yes.
Yeah. So you both have seen them?
It's your tradition.
Yes.
Yeah, we had to watch them every single year. Every single year. That's what we did.
Yeah, they're usually on like ABC Family or something like that. Like right along.
Christmas.
Yeah, right alongside like the 3 in a row reruns of all the Harry Potter movies.
I must have missed that.
Oh, that happens every year, baby.
I feel cheated.
But yeah, so one of the things that when I was starting to look into all of this that I found really interesting is, so all of those movies are made by the same company, which is called Rankin and Bass. Now, have you two ever heard of that company name?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so they, at the time, this was like in the 60s. This is in like from the early to late 60s. They were some of the pioneers for animation at the time. Whether that be through stop motion or through like cell animation, much akin to Disney, they were right there at the top, right alongside Disney and Hanna-Barbera.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The one distinction that Rankin and Bass had was that they didn't have a budget.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
When I say they didn't have a budget, I mean they didn't have a lot of money. And so that kind of created this unique art style for especially their stop motion films, where while like it was absolutely like revolutionary, and while people were already doing stop motions, I mean literally animation from back in the day is just another form of stop motion, because you take the like what what was his name, the animator that we had on,
Ward
Jenkins.
Yes, like what he was talking about with the flipping of the cells back and forth.
Yeah, that tactile feel he said was so satisfying.
Because what it was like you were literally drawing each frame out and you were taking a picture of each frame. So animation from the get-go has always been just a different version of stop motion.
How tedious that must be.
Oh yeah.
On both fronts, even like just flipping the book, like with the Captain Underpants novels. I used to.
Oh yeah.
But
it was so satisfying.
I wonder how many kids like were like doing as fast as they could, and then like no more Captain Underpants.
Yeah, I had ripped a good Captain Underpants pages.
Yeah.
Wow. Strong boy Michael always been strong boy.
Rips the entire book in half.
It was more like me just like doing it over and over and over again to try and see how hard I could make Captain Underpants punch the bad guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so we go back to the 60s where we have these giants in the media or of this medium in Disney and Hanna-Barbera. Each one of them is known for their own certain things. With Disney, it was just the impeccable quality. At this point, they had already put out like greats like Snow White.
Good one.
Yeah, and Sleeping Beauty. And even today, like the animation from those films still pretty much holds up. Like quality wise, it's not going to be like nearly as crisp because you don't have like the high definition view that we have now. But as far as like the actual like art style and quality of like the lines and the motion throughout, it's just still impeccable. Hanna-Barbera is like pretty much, it doesn't have that same sort of like quality, but it still holds weight to this day. Like you can go back and watch old episodes of Scooby-Doo and it's going to seem a little bit off, but like for the most part, like things still look really good. Like the characters move very fluidly. The backgrounds are really well designed. And there's just this overall level of like artisanship to go along with it.
Yeah. Hanna-Barbera is very, if you had to compare the two, if you had a dial and you wanted to make an animation, you'd probably crank up cartooniness to like maybe 9 out of 10. And that's how you get Hanna-Barbera. You crank it all the way down more towards the art side of the dial if you wanted to say a Disney or a Disney film back in the day. So I enjoy both personally. One is better than the other.
No, I'm absolutely right there with you. Like nothing beats like a good old episode of like Flintstones, like when you tune in on like Boomerang and all
Did
that.
they do Looney Tunes or was that a different studio?
That was different. That Looney Tunes is Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers. Okay, that was another one.
Yeah,
Tom and Jerry.
Yep,
classics.
The Animaniacs. I love them.
Yeah, they did. That's Warner Brothers. What is it?
They're zany to the max. They live in the Warner Brothers tower.
They all show up in the new Space Jam too.
So I'm going to be logging out, clocking out. I got a shift to work. They're going to make me make extra sketches.
I forgot that mentioning the new Space Jam is triggering to Alex.
Poor Alex.
Yeah. But anyway, so aside from like the really like jank animation styles and all that, due to the lack of budget that Rankin and Bass movies had, specifically for their Christmas specials, which were not actually ever like fully released movies. They were just TV specials. So they were meant to be kind of enjoyed in the same medium as like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon was. Except they were usually given at like a specific time slot at like 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. Like there's only one TV in the house and the entire family needs to come together, sit down and watch it all as one.
Prime time.
Yeah, exactly. But what they managed to do before any other studio did was integrate musical theater into their cartoons.
So back then they had like stop motion animation already.
Yeah,
like, there were already people who were doing like live act, like physical stop motion.
Yeah, like stop motion has essentially been a thing since like the 30s.
Probably since the invention of film, because back then it was the exact same. It was just flipping quickly through things.
Yeah.
That's the origin of film. But I guess the idea of like these posable like figures that they would slightly change, I kind of always just assumed this was the first of that. But finding out there was some before is interesting.
Yeah, no, there was lots before. It was just like, especially like within the like art community, the art community really took a hold of like claymation just because there were so many possibilities, and it was very easy for them to transition their skills with sculpture into, just taking pictures of it.
True. So this might be a little bit of a tangent, but I know those are encouraged on such episodes as these.
Yeah,
but
go for it.
there was, you remember Wallace and Gromit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's he said claymation, and I was like, they were made out of clay. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Albeit it's a little bit better done.
Gromit.
Wallace and Gromit.
Wallace and Gromit is an example of really good stop motion animation.
Yeah, like that's polished. You'd say it's more polished than, say, Rankin and Bass production.
Yeah. I mean, especially for like when it came out in like the 90s or even like the late 80s. Wallace and Gromit like was just insanely good.
Cheese.
Yeah. But so actually, like the if you were to go back and rewatch the Rankin and Bass animated movies, or the stop motion movies, they're not claymation. There's a very important distinction. They use physical puppets. Like I was watching a documentary about these people who were able to get a hold of the original puppets for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And they went through like turns out like Rudolph and all the other deer, like their puppet bodies are just like little dowels of wood with felt over top of it. And what they did was they like through the floor and through the body, they strung wires to be able to light up his nose. And then for like Santa's puppet is actually insane. It is all handcrafted solid wood. And then what they did is in order to actually hook up all of the mechanisms for the puppetry, they cut the entire puppet like in half, like this way, like going straight down the sides, like arm to arm, and then carved out the inside and strung it all up through there. The issue comes into place though with like they didn't have any molds or anything of it. So if you needed a new Santa, you had to recarve the entire thing by hand.
That's a lost art. People don't want to talk about that, but modeling and all that.
Yeah.
Like sure, there's a creepy old man in his basement doing like a model train layout or whatever. That's gonna be me someday. But
yeah,
people don't think about that.
You made the joke before I could, and I'm pretty upset about it.
Beat you to the punch. But yeah, it's all that like detail work with your hands. It's kind of like going out of vogue nowadays. So
yeah,
more power to them.
Well, and like a lot of the reason for that is just like it's so much easier. Like it's not print just like
like, you're done.
Yeah. But so all of these techniques and everything that they did, like while to us it looks so off and janky, like the motions look like just stilted and like not pleasant to look at, but it still fits for some reason. All of that is still stuff that is studied today, like especially when you have the beginnings of like 3D animation and things like that. Like you can go to like a UC Berkeley or what's the name of I'm forgetting the famous name of the college that all the Pixar animators went to. But
I feel like it was in Silicon Valley, wasn't it? Or
it's somewhere. It's definitely in California.
I'm pretty sure it's California Institute.
I don't know. That could be a question for our fact checker, Chloe. All that we know is
Pixar
that
University.
the room that they all learned animation in was room like A118.
Right,
and
right.
It's that college. Yeah. But I'm sure Chloe will pop
Cal
in.
Arts. That's what it is.
I
that's
got it
Chloe's
right.
job. You don't Google stuff. That's what she's here for.
No, I didn't Google it. I just was thinking through. I was like, it's California something.
California Institute for
But Chloe did also come into our little internal chat here and fixed it up for me. Yeah, it's appreciated.
She's not here in the North Pole with us right now because she had an audition, but we're sending her love from the North Pole.
But yeah, so all of the like puppetry, all of the like the animation, that was all stuff that was studied very heavily, especially at like Cal Arts or UC Berkeley or any of these other prestigious animation colleges. And the funny thing is that so many people were like heavily inspired by all this work, and to the point where like people were graduating and creating entire portfolios, and they were like specifically in mind with the goal of wanting to go work at like Rankin and Bass. And the problem is though, is that they would go to the Rankin and Bass office in New York City, present their portfolio, and they'd be like, yeah, this is absolutely incredible. Your work is really, really good, but we can't hire you.
We can't afford you.
Not that they can't afford them. They actually had every single bit of puppetry and shooting for those movies done in Japan.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
So they actually had, like, the puppets were crafted in Japan. The entire movies were shot in Japan. They basically, what they would do is they would
that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because puppetry is an ancient, like, cultural thing over there. So like they've been crafting and carving puppets for ages on ages on ages.
Yeah.
I thought they were trying to save a buck that way. You know how
No,
people offshore stuff.
That was just like they found what it was is the like Rankin and Bass, the actual people. They were on a trip to Japan and they somehow came in contact with one of these studios, and that began negotiations around like what they could do for them, and that one of those culminations ended up being these Christmas movies.
Color me impressed.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like it's really, really cool because like you go back to that time period and it turns out like even back in the 60s we've been watching anime.
Well, not
How
me.
did you do it? How did you make this an episode about anime?
How do you sleep at night, Michael?
This sucks. I was having such a good time. This sucks.
I'm here for it. Let's hear it.
That's okay. That's
sucks.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's actually like really cool because like you can go back and rewatch like some of the
It's
movies.
even Japanese anime. This sucks.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell me that A Year Without a Santa Claus is a anime movie?
Japanese anime.
It's Japanese animation.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. But no, it's some of the funny things about it though is like you
they
can
made
go back.
Easter ones too, right? Sorry,
I don't think they did any Easter ones.
I think they made an Easter one.
That's ringing a very faint bell, but I
spent a lot of time today looking at their entire like movieography.
Maybe I'm thinking of something
filmography.
else.
That's the word.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else too.
But yeah. Where was I at? Yeah, they had movies in Japan, and it was made there, and it's anime. Everything's anime.
Okay.
Now that we've got that established,
it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. So, but one of the cool things that you'll notice is that if you go back and watch like Santa Claus is Coming to Town, there is a scene in the movie where Jessica, the woman who's like the teacher, who Kris Kringle falls in love with, there's a moment where she's singing and she's going around a fountain. She looks at her reflection in the fountain, and it is just straight up an anime woman, like drawn in cartoon, like Japanese style. And it's the start of this whole like psychedelic merging of like 2D animation along with the 3D stop motion of the puppet. Yeah. And it's really cool because you can actually go back and see the Japanese influence on all this stuff. But that's kind of just like a thing for me. I just like the fact that like it's an excuse for me to call it anime.
Which it is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Here's what I found. The Easter Bunny is Coming to Town is a 1977 stop motion animated musical television special produced by Rankin and Bass.
Would you look at that?
Narrated by Fred Astaire, Tom Holland.
Hey.
So guess what? This is an episode about Spider-Man.
Well, I was going to get there too because Fred Astaire is also the narrator for Santa's Coming to Town. He's the postman at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, he's the postman in the Easter one too.
Yeah. Oh, so it's the same guy.
It's the same guy, same character.
Oh. Well, and so what's funny about that too is like these Rankin and Bass movies, they were the first to really land like superstar actors and talent to be the voices in their movies.
Wow.
Yeah, like
he's the reason why Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is now playing Crypto, the super dog.
Yep.
What?
They're the reason why Chris Pratt is Mario.
I hate it here.
All right,
this stupid boiling rock that we're stuck on.
It's okay. We'll be on Mars soon enough.
Yeah, but there's no North Pole on Mars. Is there a different Santa on Mars?
There literally is a North Pole on Mars.
There's a North Pole, there's a South Pole.
Is there
an
another
equator.
Santa on Mars?
They got mountains, they got valleys, they got dust.
Mm-hmm.
You got what?
They're working on water. I don't know if they got piping yet.
Nah.
They ain't got no pipe. Let's continue.
No pipe on Mars.
Mars
Sad
needs
face.
a good piping.
Guys,
Plumb
we're
it
in the
up real
North
good.
Pole.
Yeah, we're supposed to
Santa's
be talking
giving
about
me
Christmas.
stink eyes right now.
I know. I see him. I
I'm-
can see the curvature of the M and the I going right down on his naughty list. But yeah, so
Chloe just canceled us with one L.
great.
Canceled.
Yep.
You guys have been canned. I'm still on the nice list, fortunately. So far.
So far, yeah. I don't know. You might be guilty by association.
Yeah, I'm just here. So Santa, very tough grader.
But yeah, so some of the things that we keep seeing as a pattern with all this is that well, they had a really low budget and their animation styles jank and some things don't line up, but they were very innovative for the time, with being the first to really reach out and use Japanese artistry for the centerpieces of their films, as well as getting big actors as their voice actors, getting integrating musical theater into their films. I mean, it makes complete sense though, for these movies, because they're all based off of Christmas songs. You got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Yeah, which actually it was a short story before it was a song, and then they made the movie with the song.
Oh, I was thinking it was the chicken and the egg thing where the movie came first and then the song came out later.
No, and that's specifically done that way. And what you'll notice is when you're watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, there's moments throughout the movie where they directly reference the song. So but they do it not just by singing the song, which they usually save that for the end of the movie.
Sure.
But what they'll do is when Rudolph is born at the beginning of the movie, and
I need to rewatch these
his
things.
nose lights up. They're actually still really good.
They're quality films.
They're really good in a bad way, but that makes them really charming.
Better than being really bad in a good way.
Really bad and a good.
It's like a Hallmark movie.
Oh.
I would have said same, but whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, it's at the beginning of the movie when he's born, his mom goes, oh my gosh, his nose is shining so bright. Oh, how does the song go? Rudolph, how very shiny.
There you go. Work through it.
Yeah. It's like
he's his mom said
ABC Elemento.
His mom goes, his nose is so shiny, and his dad goes, I would even say it glows.
And then all the other reindeer come in and laugh and call him names.
No,
yeah.
that's like,
and then they kick him really hard when he tries to play with them.
So later what happens is while he's being bullied and being called all these names, you get Rudolph going stop calling me all these names, and they take,
let me play your reindeer games. You bunch of bullies.
Or when Santa finally comes to his senses after Rudolph, now the Chad reindeer, comes in and steals the hottest girl from the village.
Chad Santa defends helpless
virgin
virgin reindeer against beta cucks.
Beta cuck Rudolph.
No, Rudolph is the Chad now. He went on his spiritual journey. He
started off as a beta cuck though.
Yeah. He was
Rudolph is an anime hero.
Yeah.
Who also
when Rudolph made it through that blizzard in the animated Rudolph movie, that was him going Super Saiyan, and I stand by that.
Yeah.
Discovering the Chad.
What a I love this. This is great.
This might be the most like our normal everyday conversations episode we've ever had.
Pretty much.
You really turned this around. I really love the whole anime.
He's on board with it now.
The whole Japanese anime thing now.
In the course of 5 minutes, he's done a complete 180.
That's right. And that's exactly what you're referring to when you say this is the most like a regular everyday conversation.
Actually, you know what? I like ice cream now.
Yeah. I not like ice cream.
I don't know. I'm just making stuff up.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just gaslighting, you know.
Just a little casual.
Canceled with 1 L.
Not again.
Chloe's showing me how many L's she typed with her middle finger.
2. 1, 2.
But yeah, so like, just as a quick recap, we all know how Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer goes. We know the song. So if you know the song, you can pretty much guess how this movie goes.
What? Say it to me.
What's not?
I don't know the song.
I don't want to get sued.
You can't get sued for singing Rudolph.
Huh. No, I'm pretty sure it's not public domain.
All right, fact checker Chloe. We need to know if Rudolph's
I
public
just don't
domain.
Want to sing the song. I looked it up beforehand. It is public domain, and I don't want to sing it.
What if we help?
We're not doing it, Alex. Not Michael.
You guys
if you want to sing the song, Alex, you
guys don't want to do a little virtual Christmas caroling?
This is gonna be awful for the syncing. It's gonna be an absolute nightmare.
From our home to theirs, a little Christmas sing-along.
No, Alex, we're not doing it.
Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that.
If you want,
right now, our listeners are on the edge of their seats to see if I can turn this around.
Okay, how about this? After we're done, I'll do my own recording of it and send it to Nick to put into.
Okay, do your own recording and then put it in the drive so that I can do a harmony to it, and then Nick will like do beatboxing or electric guitar. Oh my god, he could shred on the electric guitar.
Guys,
okay, this is what's happening right now.
You send me your recordings. I'll listen.
It already happened.
I'll say they're very nice, and I will not put them in the episode.
Okay, so that's not happening.
Okay.
Well, he gets final say.
You know what? Christmas album, guys. We'll do it.
Here, let's do it. Okay, let's do it one line at a time. Are you ready?
No. Alex, I have an episode to get through.
Yeah, but you told me your notes beforehand. You already made it all the way through them.
Yeah, but just because it wasn't my notes doesn't mean I don't got it up in my noodle.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed
Reindeer. All right, so we all know how Rudolph goes. Alex, we don't need a demonstration.
Hey, we got it.
Hey, get him off.
We ever saw.
Somebody cut his mic.
Close.
Like a light bulb.
That's right. Join in. All of the other reindeer. You still have to call him names.
Like dipshit.
Well, that's a jingle bell. Anyway, you get the point.
That's $1 in the jingle jar.
That's $1 in the jingle jar.
Yeah, you know.
Oh my God.
Will the boys ever make it onto the nice list? Keep listening to find out.
Spoiler alert. No, they don't.
In the middle of the podcast. What are you doing?
All three of us have already put our names on the naughty list in this one episode.
At this point, Santa is like forcing us to write our own names so that we can feel more shame about it.
He has that like pen from Harry Potter where we write our own name on the naughty list and it like carves it into our hands because he's a sick guy. He's a sicko.
Give me coal. I'll just put it in a steam train. I don't care.
Yeah, you'd love coal because you'd be like, train.
Choo-choo.
God, now okay. We were talking about Rudolph. We know how the song goes. But that doesn't mean they don't take creative liberties. I mean, it's a minute 15 long song. Like you gotta stretch that out into a 30-minute feature film.
That's a short song. Wow.
Yeah, this is a very short one.
Hey.
So we get lots of like brand new characters, brand new songs, all that stuff. But what they ended up getting the creator, the guy who wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the song, to come in and write for every other song in the movie. So it all is like nice and cohesive.
That's lovely.
So we got like Silver and Gold, the song that the snowman, who's played by Burl Ives, the folk singer, sings after we get introduced to the greatest character of all time.
Yukon Cornelius.
Mr. Yukon Cornelius.
Yahoo!
He was a little biased, but okay.
He throws the pick in the air.
What do you mean it's a little biased?
Just feels a little biased is all.
Nothing.
What are you gonna tell me that the little elf who wants to be a dentist is the best character?
He's
You should
not.
dream. You should dream big. You should dream big, and you shouldn't let anyone stop you.
I don't want to be a dentist. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Your name's not Crentist.
Yeah.
Crentist.
I would definitely say though that Yukon Cornelius is the best character in the show. You get his
okay, but what about all the Island of Misfit toys?
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
What
Do
about
they
the
yell and
Abominable
scream
Snowman?
about gold out of nowhere and then lick their pickaxe to see if they found any?
It's funny.
This is one of those moments where you've turned me around.
Yeah,
I'm on your side now.
Big burly bearded man.
I like him. I like his
Yeah,
quirks.
yeah.
I like how quirky he is. He seems
the worst
unstable. I love that.
partner
In a
Yeah,
character.
and he sacrifices him. Spoiler alert: he sacrifices himself to save Rudolph and the little. Yes, Chloe. I'd imagine he's.
Oh
Very
no.
I would imagine he's very popular in the bear community.
Outed.
Yep.
Chloe's Christmas gift this year is to be put on blast, and I'm so sorry
That's not a
that
put
we're
on
giving
blast.
it
You
to
just
you
provided
early.
good cultural information.
I could see it though. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Where's the plaid? He's nice and heavy set.
Yeah, but he
Nice
sacrifices himself to save Rudolph and the little dentist elf.
Does he die?
They're trying to escape from the abominable snowman who is trying to get in their way to get back to the North Pole during the middle of the snowstorm. So Yukon Cornelius, after going toe to toe with the abominable snowman, he tackles it over a cliff, only to never see them again. Until we're back at the North Pole. Rudolph has come and saved the day.
And Santa has performed a resurrection spell.
No, Yukon Cornelius
It's
comes
Easter dummy.
comes walking right up on in there with the abominable snowman tied up right behind him.
Because he's a goddamn hero.
He's an absolutely goddamn hero. He came in and he reformed the abominable snowman. That is a theme in all of these movies, though. The bad guy is never like killed. There's no they make a very serious point to not even use like slapstick comedy towards the villain or anything. It's like the worst thing that happens to any of the villains is when in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, when the Burgermeister
Meisterburger.
Burgermeister. Yeah, Burgermeister Meisterburger. Yeah. The worst thing that happens to like physically to any of these characters is when he steps on a toy to start the entire plot of that movie.
Yeah, he breaks his leg.
Yeah, well, he breaks
His foot. I don't know. He breaks something.
he
breaks my heart.
He hurts his foot. Arguable to what extent.
It's in a cast. It's pretty serious.
He breaks his pride is what he does.
Yes.
Yeah. More than anything else, it's his pride.
We can all agree on that.
But so like they make it a really big point to not actually harm any of the villains, that all of the villains in like true Christmas spirit, they are able to be like redeemed and be able to find the good in them. And in this case, you may ask, like, how is an abominable snowman reformed? What does that even mean? Well, Yukon Cornelius, in true 1960s American fashion, convinced the abominable snowman that he needs a job.
He needs a job.
Yep. He is a good-hearted person now, and because of that, he needs a job, and so he goes to work at Santa's factory. You know what his job is?
Making toys?
Nope. His singular job is to put the star on top of the Christmas tree because all the elves are too damn short.
Yeah, that is his job.
It's one of my favorite scenes because Yukon Cornelius comes busting in, is like, he can do this. And he puts the Christmas the star on top of the tree, and all the yells are just like, "Oh my
They're like, holy shit! Yes! Yes! They're like punching each other. They're like ripping their clothes off. They're like running around. It's a giant mess.
They can't deal.
They're like losing. It's an absolute mob. They destroyed Christmas that year.
Yeah.
They burned the factory down.
They had to rebuild. It was disgusting.
Yeah. One of the other things about this movie too that I just remembered is that Santa in the entire movie is skinny.
Yeah.
Huh?
I
Yeah,
remember
he's
that.
a skinny Santa all the way. Like, and it's a running joke that like Mrs. Claus is like she's trying to fatten Santa up to be able to go out and
Eat,
deliver the
Santa,
present.
eat.
No, mama. And so, like, right as he's about to go deliver the presents after Rudolph has already saved the day, it's literally just like okay, Santa turns around and he's now fat.
Yep.
But yeah, and it's one of the funny things about this movie though is that like, so you get Rudolph who comes in and is like antagonized the entire movie. He's like bullied, and him alongside the little dentist elf,
Apprentice.
and like their entire thing is like, okay, Rudolph is not like useful. Like his nose gets in the way and it's like bothersome. The dentist, he's like, I don't want to make toys. I want to be a dentist.
Total downer, by the way.
Yeah. And everyone's just like, well, then you're fired. It's like,
You can't fire me, I quit.
There's a separate universe out there where we get like the dark, edgy story of the like dentist elf who's like, I'm sick of working for these freaking children. I want to cause them pain.
Santa doesn't give me a day off. I can't handle it
I
anymore.
want to be a dentist.
He only has to work one day out of the year.
364 days off. Yep, that's him.
We get one day of vacation all year. No
You're
benefits.
telling me that there was a job position where all I had to do was put the freaking star on the tree?
That's why they couldn't deal.
Nobody told me to apply? So much for moving up in the company, Santa.
I love the idea of like middle management in the North
Yeah.
Pole. Yeah. Like I want to get like Office Spaces, like the movie Office Space, but in like elf culture in the North Pole.
We can pitch it to Santa while we're here, just see what happens.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't like make that the plot of one of the Santa Claus movies with Tim Allen.
Okay, hold on. Trademark. We're trademarking this idea. We're going to write this script, but later on down the line, maybe in 20 or 30 years, doesn't matter. But if you make this movie, I'm going to play this in the courts and you're going to have to pay me money. So don't make an Office Spaces for elves and don't make it a Christmas movie. That's our thing.
Okay, our thing. I was like, are you like singularly taking this right now? Like,
No.
Out of the three of us, are you calling dibs right now?
I'm talking to the audience.
Oh, okay.
They're not allowed to make it. It's ours now. That's our intellectual property.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have enough flair on your vest.
You missed some stitching here and here.
So we've been doing we've been doing our annual cheer test. If you could just put a little dust in this cup.
Did you put the cover sheet on these new elf reports?
It seems like you didn't carry the one when you were counting the people on the nice list. That's a demerit.
That would be a great movie.
We're gonna make it.
Yeah.
What do you mean you caught fire to all of the wooden rocking horses?
Come on, Santa. No one likes them anyway. Nobody's happy to get a wooden rocking horse.
The main elf is voiced by Jeff Kinney.
Can we land him a second time?
Ooh. Oof. I love it.
Anyway, trademark. We're making this now.
But yeah, and so throughout this entire movie, it's like Rudolph is getting bullied. Like even his dad, like from the moment he's born, is like trying to cover up his imperfections. Like if you remember, he puts the little like black cap over his nose.
I thought it was shoe polish.
No. Like it's an actual like cap he puts over because then like Rudolph has to talk like he closed his nose and he sounds all.
He does sound like
yeah. And his dad's basically like, You're worthless. You gotta be on Santa's sled. It's only 8 reindeer. You better set yourself apart. And then all the other reindeer bullying him and all that. And so, but at the end, it's kind of weird and bittersweet because Rudolph does get to join the sled and like he's now like sung as like a hero, but in like kind of a messed up way. The message of the movie is essentially people aren't going to like you until you're useful.
Yeah, it tracked for the 60s, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And like even going down to like the elf, like the little elf guy, like his whole thing was like that he didn't want to make toys and he wanted to be a dentist. Well, no one needed a dentist at the North Pole until he took the tooth out that was bothering the abominable snowman.
I think they need a dentist. You got all those candy canes around. Come on.
You
Cookies,
think so?
Santa.
They probably built up a natural immunity at that point.
Just plaque everywhere
Yeah.
on their teeth.
If I walked up to one of you guys and I was like, I think I want to be a dentist now, open your mouth. You would be like, no.
No.
There's a certain amount of education that goes into becoming a dentist that I don't think they provide in the North Pole.
And that's one of the funniest things about the movie too, is like when he first like introduces himself to Rudolph, he's like, "Oh, I'm a dentist," and Rudolph was like, "A dentist?" And he's like, "Well, I want to be a dentist." And it's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like we're committing like medical impersonation now. Okay, that's a felony."
Yeah, I'm a doctor, by the way. You know.
Yeah.
Sure you are. Sure.
See, I'm not read up on North Pole laws.
Could you imagine if in the scene with
There
the
are none.
abominable snowman, he was like, they're like, "You're a dentist? Fix him!" And he's like in the mouth, he's like,
I don't know what the fuck is going on here. I've never done this before.
Oh no.
I like the idea of like a super gruesome version where it's like the
he
abominable
kills
snowman.
the abominable snowman.
No. No,
He's
I was
bleeding
thinking
out
like
through his
I was
tooth,
thinking
and
like
just
the
spurting
abominable
blood everywhere.
snowman goes and like eats an elf and it's just like hanging there. And there's
He's
like,
like, "You want
you're
me
a
to go in
dentist, you know
there?"
how mouths work, fix him. And it's like
It's
in
the
the
elf.
mouth.
It's like half the elf is still in the mouth, half the elf is
God.
laying on the ground. They're like,
Fix him, dentist.
Oh no. Ho ho no.
he's like,
Yeah.
I think I need a bigger scalpel.
Holy smokes.
Anyway, write that
We're
down.
supposed
That's
to be-
going in
yeah,
our
we're supposed
Christmas
to be
movie
talking
too.
about Christmas movies.
We are talking about. We're
Yeah, I
gonna
know, I
make the
love it.
next one.
The
in the same
abdominal
style.
snowman.
The
That's
abdominal.
nothing. Scrap that.
Guy's
Scrap
jacked.
that. Get rid of that.
No. That's how we bring in the furry view.
Yeah, he's a hunk.
Yeah.
Never skips ab day, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Oh my god. So
Someone else can
anyways.
have that one.
yeah, that's fine.
I'll edit in laughter so it's funnier later.
Yeah, that'll make it funny.
You've had that power this whole time?
Yeah.
Hey, hold on, wait. I want to test this out. Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
What's a naughty kid's favorite music to listen to?
I don't know. What is it?
Coldplay.
Coldplay.
Did you put in the laugh track?
Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think
So
I'll watch
that's so I get anxiety for Christmas. That's
Yeah. That's
It's a little
Nick's
worse.
gift to all of us.
what's he gonna say next?
Nobody knows.
But so if we like think about it and look back on all these movies though, like we can remember some of the ridiculous plot moments. We can we can remember like oh, like the only reason why Yukon Cornelius and the Abominable Snowman like they survive is because turns out abominables bounce. Yeah, things like that. But the real thing that ends up has always like stuck with me from these movies is the music. Like you got
I'm
like
Mr. Freeze Blister. I'm Mr. Snow.
That's a year out of Santa Claus, different movie.
yeah.
It's a different movie, but
them.
still.
Yeah.
We're on topic. Yeah, we're good.
I'm
Yeah.
Mr. 100 Below.
I'd be the heat miser. That's me. That's my
Why?
cosplay.
Is there a reason?
I like hot. Especially this wintertime. It's been super cold.
Sometimes I think you're setting up bits and then you don't do it.
They just go nowhere.
No, that's the personification of me. I'd be the heat miser.
Here, check this out. Ready?
Yep.
You know, out of everyone, I think that I would be the freeze miser
Yeah.
Yep.
because I'm so cool.
Okay.
And that's a bit. That's all it takes.
You know, sometimes I wonder if airline food's even that good.
Can I make it Christmas?
You ever travel to your grandma's house in the snow and you get airline food in the sleigh? I don't know where this is going.
Hold on.
Nick,
What's
this
the
is
deal
now
with-
turning into an improv class.
What's
Yeah, that
the
was
deal with
good.
airline food?
That was
Anyway, I
good.
mean, you go down through the river and through the woods, and to grandma's house you go, and hopefully the food's better there. Am I right?
Okay, I'll count it. Anyway,
All right.
back to you, Michael.
Oh God. So like the big one that always stuck out to me with like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is Silver and Gold, the song sung by the snowman. But there's one song in particular from Santa Claus is Coming to Town that has always really stuck with me.
That snowman makes a cameo in Elf.
He does. That snowman makes a cameo in a lot of places because these movies are so iconic.
True.
Yeah. Like I remember there was at one point a Nickelodeon commercial where it's literally just like a female New Jersey version of the snowman.
Oh, I think we remember that.
Yeah. It's like I've been here for like 1,000 years. And it's great.
Yeah.
But the one song that that has always stuck with me is the one from Santa Claus is Coming to Town called One Foot in Front of the Other.
Oh,
Yeah,
One
it is.
foot in front of the other.
And soon you'll be walking out the door. Yeah. It's great.
Knew I'd
Me
get a
walking
sing
on
along
ice.
out of you two.
You get a verse. But yeah, and it's from it's Kris Kringle. So this entire movie is about the origins of Santa Claus.
It could be a Marvel film if you
It
think
could
about it.
be. And he has to go from his family's house, where he is a part of the Kringle family, a family full of old small people who make toys. And he wants to go to the nearby somber town to deliver the toys to make the sad kids happy. And in order to get there, he has to cross through the winter mountain that is that belongs to the Winter Warlock. Which, like, if you go and watch the movie now, it's like, oh, okay, cool. This is literally like the Ice King from Adventure Time, like down to like the exact design.
He's kind of scary, if I remember correctly. I was a kid when I watched it, to be honest.
He's very scary.
There.
He's very scary, and it's not until like Chris is old and he comes and the Winter Warlock is finally like, you can't go down there anymore. Like, that Kris Kringle gives him a toy train. Because even the coldest hearts enjoy trains.
True.
And all of a sudden he's like, he warms up and his like icy facade drops. He still keeps like all of the ice clothing, but like he goes from this ice monster to like an actual person. Which
all it took was a train.
And so he just had to like, the whole thing is like, all right, cool. Like the first step towards like being a new person, following this theme of the villains being rebirthed, becoming a new good person, is that he just has to take one step because he hasn't moved in hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Oh, because he's frozen. That's right.
Yeah. And so the whole song is like him taking these steps towards becoming a better person. And one of my favorite parts about it is like the entire song is written in like standard like 4/4 time signature.
As most songs are.
Right. But then you get to when the warlock has to start walking. They end up switching to, I believe, what's called like a 7/3 time signature, which is like specifically made for like having like a very staggered sound. Like it's meant to sound almost like someone like limping through the song.
Yeah, 7/8 has that effect on a lot of things because it's 4 beats. It depends on how you count it. You can count it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or you can do 4 and 3, which kind of gives it this kind of jaunty feel to the song itself. So
yeah, it's not like 7 and 8. It's like something really weird. Like
I know weird time signatures. So.
yeah, because put one foot.
It could be 5/4
in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out. And it's just like it feels so weird, but like once you have it matched up with the visuals, it fits perfectly.
Yeah, it might even be a a thing where they do what is it called? They like modulate the actual rhythm of the song. So you know how most songs are like 120 beats a minute or whatever.
Right.
They might like slow it down and speed it up a little bit, but I see what you mean. Definitely, it can have that kind of limping feel to it.
Yeah, and it's meant to be like the symbology of like him actually taking those first few steps in his struggle and actually getting there.
Yeah.
And I just think that like it's really cool that these movies, that because they had these small budgets, they had to get so creative with like every other possible aspect make up for it. That's and really that's why like I think these movies still stand the test of time. Like before this episode today, while I was working, I went through and I watched all of these movies, and they're still good. They're still very good. They're definitely like get much more of a laugh now than they did when I was a kid, but they're still great, and you can still see like all the heart and passion they put into these movies. Just fills you up with the Christmas spirit.
They're quotable too.
Oh, very.
We were just quoting them right now, like the whole "Eat Santa Eat" thing, and then one foot in front of the other, and Yukon Cornelius being a meme. Nothing.
Exactly.
They're just timeless.
There's
no other way around it.
They really are. And and it's just really cool to see like these movies that like they originally had to like advertise them strictly off of like star power. Like like with being the first movies that actually had like proper actors that people knew about. That was the pull. And now, because these movies were actually so good and people love them, nobody knows who Burl Ives is anymore. They don't really.
I have no idea who that is, and I consider myself to be like the masses.
He used to be. He was a like really popular like folk singer.
He had like a deep baritone, bassy kind of voice.
Yeah, like everyone knew him back then, so they tuned into these specials to watch these movies. And now, 60 years later, basically, we're still watching these movies not because we know who these people are, but because just the quality of the movies are so good. And
we just kind of got stuck with it.
Yeah, and they just mean so much to everyone. Like because it is taking that tradition of coming together as a family, but in front of the TV to experience something together that reminds them about like the good parts of Christmas. And it just is that being passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah. I mean, our parents probably watched them when they were growing up too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh, you got to watch this. And I was thinking it was a Hollywood level production, like,
no,
anything. I was going to say the Polar Express again, but I didn't want to make anyone angry. I was expecting like a full Hollywood production of like, there's Tom Cruise and he's swinging from a vine and he's shooting people. And no, it's just claymation.
Yeah. Here, Nick, this might upset you. In my opinion, these movies show more heart than any single moment of the Polar Express.
Correct.
Agree.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Good.
I think that we can probably end the podcast on that because that's the first time the three of us have agreed on something.
Especially in regards to trains.
Look, I'm just there for the train. I've said this before.
I said before, and I'll say it again. If the Polar Express was a bus, I wouldn't have watched that shit.
Nope. If it was a bus, a car, a tank, anything.
The Polar Express was a boat, I would have sunk it.
Yeah.
The Polar Express was a bus, I'd have
drunk it. I don't know.
I'd have sunk that too.
And drove it off a bridge.
Great job, Michael.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely killing the game. Yeah, you made me crave watching them, which means you did your job.
Yep.
And you know what? I think I will entertain this.
Oh, damn, so spicy.
The holiday season is full of glee. It's full of surprises. And we have a surprise for you. Or maybe it's not a surprise. It's a quick this. This week, it's Nick. Watch him do the point thing.
Oh, it's
do the point thing.
What's the point thing? Do I have to me?
Yep,
yeah,
there it is.
Who? Me?
Yeah.
Me? What?
That's you. That's your thing.
What?
The people who are watching our visual podcast, well, first off, they're in on a couple of the Christmas secrets that I won't unveil to you listening to the podcast. But they also enjoy when Nick does that thing where he goes,
Who me?
And he points to himself.
It's hey,
you got a quick this, Nick?
I do. Does somebody have a timer?
Yeah.
Timer. I barely know her.
We're full bits today. And I love it.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Go.
To start my quick this, I'd like you to think of the Western world's typical holiday traditions, be it a celebration of Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, Christmas, or whatever you celebrate in your neck of the woods. But consider the strange things that we do around this time, like decorating our homes with evergreens, or hanging up wreaths on our doors, or hanging stockings at the fireplace. And now picture one of the things you might put under your tree. Maybe there's a little Christmas themed village, fake presents, or maybe you might even have a train going around underneath your festive conifer. But have you ever stopped to think about why we do that or any of those silly traditions? Santa doesn't ride a train to town. We all know he drives his Mercedes around the Honda Day season. So what gives? Well, it's mostly because of tradition, as we just mentioned, but it's always done by the family around this time of year. And how did it start? So maybe I can answer that question in today's Quick This, all about the trains underneath the tree.
You're actually not allowed to talk about trains, and we definitely talked about this when we let you do your train episode. So I'm not going to let you shoehorn this in.
One more time.
This is your Christmas present from me.
Thank you so much.
You get to talk about this train.
One more.
And this is the last time you get to use trains as a topic.
After that, I'll talk about the band Train.
That's fine.
That's fair.
I saw them live once. They were great. Continue.
Me too, yeah.
Wow. The answer to this question begins with a theory, has some psychology, some religion, some history involved even too. But it's theorized in the mid-1700s that a group of Protestant Christians called the Moravians settled in the Lehigh Valley in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where they used to set up these nativity scenes in their homes, and they called them Putzen, which is the German word for decoration around the holiday season. These displays were enlarged year after year to include some biblical scenes that were not captured as often, like such as the exchange between King Herod and the three wise men after Jesus was born. In the mid-1800s, he said people in the villages, people created villages at the base of their tree with items such as model farmhouses fashioned after their own dwellings, overtop some burlap or some moss underneath that tree. So around this time, cast iron toys came onto the scene in the late 1800s in the forms of, homes, carriages, fire stations, you name it, is made out of cast iron. And even trains too, they came on the scene. And they, once again, earned their presence underneath the tree. But what did every town have at the center of it back then? It was a train station, right? Every town that doubts the Midwest nowadays probably had a train station in the middle. So, and this is even before the Lionel Corporation manufactured their first electric toy train at the turn of the century. Little boys didn't.
Lionel Coin Bank.
Subliminal messaging.
Do you guys remember the Lionel Coin Bank?
No.
Am I the only one who has this memory?
Probably.
I don't think I'm from here.
So around the turn of the century, the Lionel Corporation manufactures their first electric toy train. And back then, little boys didn't want wind-up toy cars because they had never even seen an automobile around that time. The big machines that they knew and loved were locomotives, and trains were the only methods of transportation that the general public had really known around that time. So once Lionel started making electric-powered toy trains, they were an instant success. People sought these out as presents for their sons, and maybe they just got excited on Christmas Day. They just couldn't handle it, and they had to set up the trains right underneath the tree that very day when Santa had just visited the night before. But again, that's just a theory. This marketing to dads and their sons really hits a fever pitch all throughout the pre-war and post-war years. And everybody knew of Lionel as the only brand that could suit all your electric toy needs. And after all that, what's more cool than operating your own train, albeit just a little smaller than the real deal? And there's these things called scales. Of course, there's O scale, which Lionel trains are now, and that's 1/48 the size of a real train. There's HO scale, which is half of O. See what they did there with the HO, and that's 1/87 scale. So those are just a couple numbers you might want to keep in mind if you're gonna put a railroad around your tree. But I mean, there's other scales, and some bigger, some smaller. You can go into it. It's a rabbit hole that I'm offering up to you on this blessed day. But what I really wanted to discuss on this quick this is all the great times that I've had with a small scale model railroader every Christmas as a kid, and even today. There's something about the smell of pine, those warm electronics, that really brings me back to the first time that I got to operate the throttle on a simple ring of track around the tree all those years ago. And it would be too easy to dismiss trains around the tree as just another quaint holiday tradition that we just do because that's what we've always done for Christmas. But what it really is just another way to teach the next generation all about trains and how to take care of small electromechanical devices. And it can be a rare moment of father-son or grandpa-son bonding that is just taken for granted in our younger years. And yes, setting up trains can be frustrating at times, but once you get past those initial moments of why the F isn't this train moving and dad yelling at you to stop smashing them together, you get to watch it go around with a sense of accomplishment and pride. That's the true spirit of Christmas, after all, is getting to play with your toys.
Hey, did you know that girls and moms can build trains too?
It's true, they can.
Okay.
So thanks for listening to me talk about trains one last time, I promise. For all you listeners out there, maybe you could send some pictures of your train setup underneath the tree. I know I'd love to see them. It's a simple gift that you could give me to make my holidays a little happier. And Alex, you can give us that email address now so you can send us those pictures.
I see what you did there, but I wanted to play this first.
Okay, let's hear it.
Oh,
There it is.
yeah, I've heard that.
A
So
bunch
not
of
paying
children chanting at me at 2:00 in the morning while I watch Nickelodeon.
Yep.
Lionel Coin Bank, Lionel Coin Bank, Lionel Coin Bank.
Yep, I remember that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Very
Look that
vivid.
up for a nostalgia blast. Right to your central cortex or whatever. Is that a brain part?
Sure.
Yep.
I think he means cerebral cortex, but sure.
Central, cerebral,
Oh,
tomato, same.
I don't know.
So yes.
I'm not.
Anyway,
I'm
if you
not-
want to
I'm
send
not-
pictures of trains to Nick, I'll tell you how. But first, I want to say, I said it the last 2 episodes, and I'm going to say it again. We are 3 men. We are Caucasian, and we celebrate Christmas. So that's what we're talking about, because we don't know no better. We don't know no better, and we want to be educated desperately. And we're looking for anyone who is willing to educate us on the traditions or the entertainment that takes place in households that maybe don't celebrate Christmas. What I would love, and I think my two boys here would agree, is for next year us to devote the entire month of December to bringing on guests who have other holidays that they celebrate to come on and talk to us about their holidays and what they do, because we're talking a lot of Christmas. I know that's not everyone's thing. We'd love to represent you and your holiday as well. So that's especially important to email us so we can get that set up for possibly next December. That would be huge. We would love to do it a lot. That'd be really cool. Anyway, here's how you reach out to us. There are a couple different ways. If you got suggestions, you can hit us up. Our email is entertainthispodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our website. It's www.entertainthis.net. Scroll all the way to the bottom. There's a little questionnaire you can fill out. Send your suggestion straight to us. We are also on multiple social medias like Twitter, we're entertain_this, or on Instagram, we're entertain this podcast. We also have a Facebook group. It's Podcast Entertain This. You can go there to discuss our episode topics every week with people like you who like talking about things like the Lionel Coin Bank. I think that's all that I... What did you just say, Nick, to me? What did you aggressively just whisper to me?
Lionel also makes trains, if you don't know that.
Of course I know that, because the Lionel Coin Bank, every time that you put a coin in it, it makes a train sound. And the little arms go down like it's train crossing, because it's a train crossing sign.
Oh, can I have one? Somebody want to buy me one of those?
I will never give money to them, but I might steal one if I see it. Speaking of seeing things, we'll see ya next Friday. Bye, guys.
Bye.
This episode of Entertain This was written by Michael Savoya, with additional commentary from Nick Mustakangas and Alex Steele. Our showrunner and resident fact-checker is Chloe Price. Our theme music is Rushable by Aaron Spencer, with interstitial music by DJW. Tune in every Friday for new episodes, and thanks for listening.